Hi everybody, Matt and Paul here from Fiduciary Wealth, and today we are talking to you about healthcare in Portugal. So for those looking to relocate, you may be interested to know how you can access healthcare or private care and what are your options. So here we're here to point you in the right direction. So Paul, healthcare in Portugal is important for Brits or others that are looking to relocate. What can we tell people about healthcare in Portugal?
Thank you, Matt. If you, Portugal has apparently an excellent healthcare system and is ranked one of the best in Europe. And UK expats, once they establish fiscal residency, can access both public and private healthcare services. As I said, that is the general view, that it has a very good, excellent healthcare. But if I can tell you a private story, Matt, I beg to differ. I was on a business trip to Portugal in 2008, I believe it was, and I got violently sick, and I didn't know at the time, but I had gallstones, 5 big gallstones, and with the 2 guys I was traveling with, very late at night when I started feeling very, very unwell, I tried to go into a private healthcare hospital and said, too late, we closed a minute ago. It was bang on time, but they were very unhelpful. Anyway, I ended up in the hospital in Faro, and I can tell you it was horrendous. I mean, there were elderly people in stretchers on the corridors, and I was there. They couldn't see to me. I'm not going to go into the minutia, but it was an absolute shocker. That is my personal view. And since we are doing this for the benefit of, the viewers, we might as well call a spade a spade. Is that the expression?
Yeah, I believe so. I was going to go for honesty is the best policy, but yeah, maybe that's more accurate.
So,
but yeah.
Look, this was many years ago, but I have to tell you, it was absolutely shocking. And yes, public healthcare is generally very low cost, but it has waiting times, and you have to register. On the other hand, private healthcare has faster access, English-speaking doctors, and typically with an insurance policy of 40 to 150, you do get the basic level of cover. Again, that is age dependent, as you know. As you age, the cost will go higher. So, I mean, the range I gave you was for a younger individual. Um, but yeah, I think you have to consider age, because the premiums will go up all the time, and any pre-existing conditions that might be excluded, unless, of course, you've got a policy which covers not just Portugal and the policy you've had in the UK, and then you extend it to cover Europe and Portugal specifically. And then, of course, it's a question of just continuing with that policy, if you can. Each case is different, but Matt, I would definitely, and even though it's 17, 18 years ago, my strong advice would be to take private medical as a backup option, because if those services remain at the level of 2008, then I have to tell you it's absolutely shocking, and I wouldn't want one of our viewers, a UK expat thinking of moving to Portugal, to go for the cheapest option and then having to face that. And I guess the waiting times can be pretty long. I don't know how it compares with the UK, but I don't think it's going to be fast, put it this way.
I mean, the UK gets, from what I see, a lot of criticism for waiting times, but it's difficult. You've got to service so many people, and there's limited resources. And it's going to be the same in Portugal and the same in the majority of countries, isn't it? You know, you're getting free or almost free care, then your expectations have to be set. And you're living in a new country, you know, maybe you want to be a little bit more comfortable and have your private cover for peace of mind and if something happens. I think also it's worth bearing in mind that, you know, depending on people's route to residence in Portugal, it's possible that they need private healthcare cover for their visa application anyway. So you're going through that process, aren't you?
I was going to mention that could be a requirement. What I don't know, Matt, maybe you can answer, is that for the first year and then it drops off, or is it a continuing obligation?
It depends on your circumstances. For example, if you're a retiree in the UK, then you can transfer your S1 to Portugal and then you don't need to continue it. But I guess the message is, just because you don't have to continue it doesn't mean you have to cancel it. It might actually think, you know what, this is useful. And you know, I know a lot of people in Spain who have that kind of private healthcare, and usually the message is, you know, if they have to use it, it's thank God I got that, because, you know, the speed and the level of service, and it will be the same in Portugal.
The thing is, a lot of people look at it as a cost, yeah. And as well, I don't need this. Yeah, yes, it's a cost, but remember, insurance is meant to insure risk, and that's what it is. You know, if you need it, it's there. And I accept that maybe for many years there's no need for to make use of insurance, just making little small claims for dentist or whatever. But if you have to have a an op, and I was unfortunate enough to have to do it in the UK on a trip in, I think it was 2007, and then a year later in Portugal with the gallstones. On both occasions, after in the UK, it cost me. It was in London. It cost, you know, the insurance 30,000 in a top London hospital, and the gallbladder was removed in Spain in Marbella. And look, it was worth every penny. It's probably, you know, levels itself off over time, but you've got that peace of mind that you're covered, and you've got instant access to healthcare and an operation if need be. That could be the difference between life and death, um, or losing a limb. You know, in my case with my knee, it was touch and go. They had to do an emergency operation, and with a gallbladder, it was almost in pieces by the time they took it off. So um, I don't think you should risk one's life and be stingy with money, because this is, you know, the only thing worth preserving is your health.
100%. And you know, a lot of people who are considering Portugal are retirees from the UK, and the whole point of retiring to an amazing country like Portugal is to enjoy your retirement, relax, and having some form of cover in place gives you that peace of mind. But also, if something does happen, you're going to be back on 2 feet a lot quicker than if you are waiting and waiting and yeah, I'd agree with that. And I don't think we're really criticising the Portuguese system. It's just how it is, isn't it? In most places, it's a huge cost to kind of service for all countries, and therefore the standards will reflect that.
I completely agree, Matt.
Good. So the message is, you know, get some quotes. We can help you with that if you're so interested in. It's all part of your preparation for your new amazing life in Portugal. So feel free to reach out. Otherwise, continue to watch our videos, subscribe, like, share, and comment on our videos, and we will speak to some of you soon. Thank you.